folks. Welcome to our fun Monday morning. Nope, afternoon. It's 12. So I just get to echo what Sarah said. I'm so excited to have one of my fabulous community partners here. I just thought this would be a lot more meaningful than, and of course the readings are so helpful, but I'm hoping we can focus on the readings in the last 30 minutes because we'll still have those didactics. And then what this will kind of look like is, Mr. Daryl Hughes is on the call and just in a couple of minutes gave a wave. He's going to talk about his really wonderful nonprofit that him and his wife, Miss Edie Hughes, who I think is going to be able to pop on just about their nonprofit. And then I had some questions prepared for them or for Daryl, just to kind of ask how we came together. It was actually through ARC, or Alliance for Research in Chicago Land Community. And so just to kind of show you guys one avenue that you can take via Northwestern to really get connected to some really fabulous people and partners. And then if you could be thinking of questions, because the last 10 minutes of the first 30 minutes, I'm going to open it up to you guys because I think it's a really rare chance and possibility that we get to have community partners just to pick their brains and ask questions. So especially if you can think about questions, whether and hopefully connected to the readings that you had, or let's say current relationships or partners that you have, or things that have just been really boiling in your brain that you want to get community perspective of. Because again, it's just really rare that we have this opportunity, but so important. But one thing before our wonderful Daryl will get started, let's see, and I'll give this to folks to pass around, but just I wanted to talk about, oops, did I give the right one? Probably. Oh, yes, I did. And we'll pass this around, but I just wanted to pass along some resources and chat through them real quick before we get into the pearls of wisdom with Daryl. So ARC pilot grants. So again, ARC is Alliance for Research in Chicagoland Communities. It's this really fabulous center within CCH and IFAM. And one of the wonderful things they do is they have 2 pilot grants for us as Northwestern folks. So there's $5,000 grant for just partnership building, and that's actually what Daryl and Edie and I have right now. And it's just capacity building. All the money goes towards that, and also advisory boards and just getting to know the community. And Daryl and I will talk about it, but we're working with the community of Inglewood. So it's been really wonderful to have those resources to get to know the gatekeepers and chat with those folks. And then what else did you? Oh, and then a bigger one that's a follow-up. It's about like 25,000, and they're actually calling for applications right now, I believe. We might have missed the deadline, but I'll show you guys. They have it every semester, so don't worry, they'll have it this fall. They have really cool anti-racism collaborative. It's about 8 weeks. And I've taken it twice, or I guess 1.5. And it's really wonderful. It brings together so many cool folks. And ARC also has a steering committee that brings together faculty such as us, and then also community folks. They have a resource directory, a tool. And then just a shout out too that CCH has, oh gosh, I've used this with so many grants. It's called Sharps, but we get to use this for free at Northwestern faculty, but it's consultation services and stakeholder academic resource panels. So basically you can say, hey, this is the type of population that I'd really love feedback with, and you can include that in grants. We've also included it in papers, but it's free to us, and it's really, and they get paid, of course, for their time, but it's a wonderful resource. One of my favorite PDFs is called Chicago Beyond, Why Am I Always Being Researched? It's a really, really humbling and good article about how we can approach research in a really equitable and bi-directional manner. But so many times, we come in top down, so it's a really good, humbling reminder. Yeah, so I think those are the ones I want to go to, but don't worry, these have links, and we'll be sending these out. And I'll probably also include another one too. There's this really wonderful article called Equity Tourism, and it's also a really good, humbling article, as so much money is being funneled right now into equity grants. And it talks about, especially white researchers in particular, being a tourist in this area and not capitalizing on, but also working with health equity experts that have been there for many, many years. So I'll also attach this to that. So that's just some of the resources. So right now I'm going to have Daryl be able to chat with us. He has a PowerPoint that shows his really cool work. Him and Edie's, of course, really cool work. And be thinking of questions to ask Daryl. He's an open book. But he works with me, so you can imagine he's an open book and has heard open bookness. Be thinking of questions from readings, your interactions with partners while he's giving this, and then I'll start us off with a couple questions, and then we'll get started. Daryl, do you have access to share your screens or?
Yes, I do.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, we are ready whenever you are.
All right. So before we get started, I just want to introduce myself, Daryl Hughes, and I think my wife's Edie's on. Just a quick background about myself. I've been teaching post-secondary education for about 30 years. DePaul, Columbia College, Tribeca Flashpoint Academy, the Art Institute of Wisconsin. I've been in the gaming industry for about 30 years, working for Konami, WMS Gaming. I have over 10 game patents, and I've taken Microsoft has the Magic Cup competition every year, took a 4-student team to a national championship, and we made it to the semifinals in the World Championships in New York. And to just give you a rationale why Edie and I do our program, our Houston Technology Studio, is that 75% of Black and Brown people buy gaming products, but we have less than 3% of the jobs in the industry. So we feel that in low-income areas and students at risk aren't getting the education that they need in the technology and animation fields. So this is our PowerPoint. So this is just a recap of what we have worked with students this year and who we work with this year. So these are a couple of, we worked with the Ralph Metcalf Academy, South Side of Chicago. We did in person with them. And we did a game summer workshop at Northwestern University with in partnership with the DuPage NAACP and North Central College, and you guys as well. So that was pretty fun with the kids. We did a workshop last year here at Kennedy King College, and that's, I forgot to mention that I am a professor at Kennedy King College currently, and I designed the gaming curriculum here. So we did a stop motion with a lot of students in the Inglewood community. We had Police District 007, Adventure Club, the Inglewood Park District, and the Crushers Club boxing program students, all located here in the Inglewood community. And we found this wonderful person who's full of energy and bubbly to help us that we realized in working with a lot of students and teaching here in the community that we found a lot of students having mental health issues, and we wanted to bring in a program that could partner with us and help facilitate while we teaching game development. We can bring in a component to help them with the mental health issues that they're dealing with in their own community. And then we also brought in guest speakers. We had people from EA come in and speak to us students. We had Don Dixon, who's a senior animator who worked on Scooby-Doo film. And then we had Kevin Fair, who had kids learning about esports. So some of the things that we try to cover through our program is critical thinking, identifying formal game mechanics, teaching them about presentation skills, how to present themselves, created some games in Scratch, created text-based games and using Python. They created some 2D stop motion animations. We created business plans, and they had to write out a business plan. And we worked with Mike Horn at Northwestern to use their, tune pad that they was created at Northwestern, and they created concept art. Also, we put all these students into a metaverse. And so I would give this PowerPoint to Ashley, and she can send it to anybody who's interested in seeing it. So these are just some of the games that the students created using Scratch. This was some games that we taught the kids how to build a word-based game in Python. We showed them how to do stop motion animation and create 2D stop motion animations. Also, the students had to create art using multiple images, so they come up with their own concept art. So this is all original art by these students. So they also had to create their own game idea, and then they had to create the art box for their games. So again, using their critical thinking and creativity to create new stuff. So I started a gamers club here at Kennedy King College. So my students were tasked to come up with a logo for our club, and we end up using the Nasia here in the middle. Her design was picked by the rest of the club members. They learned about perspective drawing. Also, they had to create perspective by using atmospheric art, lights and darks to create depth. So this is some of the original art. And just imagine, these kids are middle school students. These are not college students. These are middle school students who's creating all this work. So very good, talented young people. We also talked to them and showed them about gamification, how to gamify something. So they learned how to take a gamification and gaming elements and create a training program using gamification. And then they had to create their own business ideas, and then they had to write their own business plan. But at the same time, they had to create their own logos and promotional materials. So some of the companies that they came up with, and these are the logos that they designed on their own. This is some of the promotional materials that two of the students created. One was a elegant photography, and then the other one, Anasia, came up with this first edition kit for women who just had a child. And everybody talk about the moms, but nobody about the babies, but nobody creates anything for the mom. So she created a site where women can go that can pamper the mom who just had the baby. And this is the tune pad that they had worked with and worked with Dr. Horn at Northwestern to create their own music. And some of the additional things we got into, they learned how to do storyboards, they how to create comic strips, and also how to do a flow chart or a, well, basically a flow chart. I call it a flow chart. Other people call them different things. They call it wireframes. So from them, wireframes, flow chart. So. And so we just recently, this year, we just finished doing an 8-week animation workshop.
Okay, somebody move it then. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
We just finished doing an 8-week creative workshop at the Discover Center in Chatham. So we had the kids working on 2D stop motion, and also they created their own 3D clay characters, and then they animated them as well. And we also had a parent join in. He got involved and had some creativity as well. So he enjoyed having fun working with his son and creating a character, and they sat on the camera and shoot the animations together. So thank you for giving us an opportunity to present our organization and what we do. And if anybody got any questions, please let me or Edie know.
I think we had Edie pop on. Edie, if you could introduce yourself and say a little, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Edie Deloach Hughes. Great presentation there, Daryl.
Thank you.
You know, I'm popping in, doing a lot of things, and I feel blessed that I was able to pop on at this time, but, you know, really enjoy working with the kids. I've had experience in advertising. That's been my background as a writer and a creative director, and I'm a branding senior writer at a major insurance company here in Chicago. I work primarily behind the scenes right now, but I usually accompany Daryl, and we co-teach a lot of the classes with the kids. I dabbled in education for a little minute, so I had an opportunity to work with middle school, well, all the grades from kindergarten to college. As a matter of fact, I taught college for about a year, but really loved work with the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, and had the opportunity to work with them. And so taking some of that knowledge and working with our kids has been invaluable. So whenever I'm available, I work with Daryl to co-teach a lot of the workshops that we have. So, you know, and I also am an author. My husband always tells me to,
Yeah, I was going to say that she's kind of
yeah, I got a couple of books. One is a children's book, I Like Gym Shoe Soup, and another one is a parenting self-help book called Raising Hell or Raise Them Well. And that's I wrote that because when I was a volunteer president of a parenting organization, primarily working with Black parents, we couldn't find any books that really address some of the unique issues that occur in the community, in the Black community, whether it's low economic, you know, or affluent neighborhoods. We still, you know, grapple with the same issues. So I said, well, I'm going to write a book. So that's what I did, wrote a book. So that's it for now.
Yeah. As you can see, they're incredible folks. And I would also like to say they both have full-time jobs. So this, all that they're doing is just their quote unquote side hustle. But as you can see it, it's just so fabulous and such a wonderful resource. So I can't speak, as you can probably see, I'm like glowing, or as my granny would say, I can pop a button. I'm so proud. Yeah, so I guess I'll ask a couple questions, and then hopefully you guys will be able to take advantage of this opportunity, because again, it's really rare to be able to get folks to pick questions at. So I can say, so from my side, how I met Mr. Darrell and Miss Edie was Jen Brown, who is one of the co-directors of ARC. She sent an email to CBITS, or the Society. Sorry, I just got back from a conference. Center for Behavioral Intervention Technologies, and then the PI. David Moore sent it around to faculty to see who'd be interested. And so that's from my side. But Mr. Darrell and Miss Edie, how did you first get involved with Jen Brown and ARC? And how did you get connected with me?
I started off, I think I attended a program. I think Ariel was over at the time at one of the schools. And then Ariel introduced me to Jen. And then we started talking about what we were doing. And then we just got into the discussion of some of the things that we're dealing with, not only that the students not having understanding of technology, but also some of the mental health issues they are dealing with. And I'm dealing with a lot of students here at Kennedy King with that same issue, mental health issue. So they said, well, you need to meet this young lady named Ashley. She's been doing research with teens, especially in low income communities, with research into mental health. I said, okay, cool. And we met up, and it's just been like a marriage that's been really fun, and we have a lot of fun, and it's been great. So Edie, you want to say anything into that? Jump onto that.
No, I tagged along with Darrell.
Boy, she's usually speaking a lot, so.
Yeah, I will. When I find the time to shine, I will shine brightly.
Oh, you always shine brightly. Cool. So let's see. And I know you guys have had so many partnerships, obviously not just ours, but you've had so many partnerships with the Chicagoland community. So you have a lot of rich data to pull from, in a nerdy way to say it. But what do you guys look for a community partner, or what qualities? Because I'm sorry, I should have said this audience is primarily researchers and also research staff and faculty. So what advice do you have for us of what qualities we could cultivate, or just any advice would be so wonderful.
Well, I think the ability to connect with your people is, the people who you're working with is really important, and that it is a genuine connection, that you can understand the culture, some of the issues that they're going through, all of that. And to be patient with yourself and patient with them, because it takes a while to develop trust, because with kids or anyone, if you don't understand what's going on, then listen, learn, and really take in the information that you see and ask questions, be vulnerable in a sense of being transparent. I should say that's a better word. Be transparent, and you'll see that you may find some connections within your own life, or, things around you that you all combined with. I think that's one of the things. Go ahead, dear.
Yeah, and one thing, and I'm gonna put it out there, and I'll be honest, and Ashley knows I keep it real and be honest about things. Don't come in there being arrogant, okay? You gotta step in there and you gotta, come meet them as people, not how many degrees you got behind your name or whatever, because that's gonna be a big turnoff. And if you come in there and you talking down to them, it's not gonna work. So like Edie was saying, that you gotta come in and you gotta have a kind heart, listen to what they have to say, because a lot of times, in the Black and brown communities, they already have an issue with research and past things that had happened. So you have to come in and say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And just, listen to what he got to say. I don't live in that neighborhood. Edie doesn't live in that hood. Ashley doesn't live in these neighborhoods. Even though I teach in this neighborhood, I'm still trying to learn, from my students, what's going on with them and trying to figure out how to get them help. So they know. And so that's why we're saying that we try to work with a lot of community partners here in Inglewood so that they can teach us so that we know, understand, even though we're African-American, but still we come from different neighborhood than these kids and
different cultures. Yeah, exactly. And there's subcultures within the culture. Black people are not a monolithic group. We are very diverse and very different within our own group. So understanding the nuances of what diversity brings is very important. And that can go from neighborhood to neighborhood, south side to west side to north side, city to city, region to region. It's all new and different, even for us, learning us and different variations of who we are. So, being understanding of that and open to that is, I think, really important. Also, too, it's important to be consistent. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't disappoint. Be consistent, and that's how you gain trust and loyalty, is your consistency.
And then another thing is, don't come in and just do research. One thing is that we had this meeting on Saturday, and one of the questions asked from Pastor who has a church in this community, in the Chatham community, was, what are you giving me? I'm giving you something, so what I get back out of this? Are you giving, okay, you're doing the research, so what are you going to bring to the table to give me some solutions to help my kids get better or feel better? So I think that's very important as well, so that there got to be a give and take, and they got to feel like they're getting something out of this besides you doing research to promote your career or whatever to get to the next level. But what are you giving back to them so that they can get to the next level of understanding as well?
I don't know if this relates, but for some reason it's popped in my head. One thing I realized, like with my book, for instance, Raising Hell or Raise Them Well, when I talk about the book to my Black colleagues, they want to buy the book. They will buy the book from me just to support me. Even if they don't read it, they will buy the book. When I talk about it to my white colleagues, they say, oh, I'd like to read the book. Why don't you give me the book to read? But they don't want to pay me for it, to support me. And I found, and I realized, wow, that's interesting. Or where can I find it at the library or something like that? So I don't know if that bears any significance to you, but I found that an interesting, different approach to, support.
You guys, you're amazing. As let's see, as always, sorry, I was reading chat and talking. You guys by now know I can't do both. Boop, boop, boop. So we have one question in the chat. Let's see, can you talk a little bit about the specific research regarding mental health and the roles Daryl and Edie and the roles Ashley around this collaboration? So I can speak, I'll just say just a little. So we are at the very beginning, and they've been patient with me too. So I'm on a KO1. So what I've been doing this research, is it just, I love it. And they do such wonderful things. So what we've done so far is we've received an art grant, partnership development grant. And that's what Daryl was referring to, is we just had an advisory board meeting with our Inglewood community partners. And gosh, the conversation was so rich. And Daryl, I love that takeaway too, of how can we, what do we get? And this is above and beyond compensation. So that was our conversation, as a compensation is very bare minimum of asking folks to talk to us and to give their expertise. but yeah, so try to think, and I could talk to you offline about this too. But Daryl and Edie, do you have maybe, well, gosh, we're getting close to the time. Sorry. Did you do, yeah,
Well,
let's,
I can stay on a
go ahead,
little,
yeah.
let my students know that I'll be a little late, so.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so if you guys could talk just a little bit about y'all's roles and our roles and kind of just how we've let me get the exact words. Yeah, just our roles in the collaboration around our research.
I think our role is more of that we have been involved with the community and we have been building relationships so that we can piggyback off of these relationships to help us get the students that we would need to do the research. And then that's where you come in and you guys set it up how you want to do the research at the same time. And I think that it's good that that we are partnered together, that they do see us, me and Edie, as people of color working with this research and feel, that might be some way of making it feel a little bit more comfortable for them to get involved with the research. And that we are been participating in the community, that we are building research like with Felix Family Services. We're trying to do a partnership with Chicago Youth Centers right now. And so we have done some work with, I'm here at Kennedy King College. And that's why I was having these meetings here at Kennedy King so that they can come in and see that we are part of the community. We are involved with the community, not only on this program, but also in higher education so that somewhere they can come and we try to introduce them to the college when they come. We give them tours here at the college so that they know that a community college is here in the neighborhood where they can come and it's not very expensive and that they can attend and walk away with an associate's degree and then move on to a four-year college if they want to.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up something that's a little bit different, but a lot of the kids that we work with, and Daryl can attest to that with his college students, they are going through a lot of anxiety and stress. And they found that a lot of our classes, like the virtual classes that we hold, that's a stress reducer for them. We don't give them grades or anything like that. It's not mandatory that they finish the projects. And it's amazing that they do, a lot of them do. They have a lot of homework, and if they do, that takes precedence over, some of the projects that Daryl teaches them. But they have found that our workshops are stress reducers, So, we think that that's pretty cool. And, Ashley coming in and piggybacking on what we're doing, I think would add to that and would enrich the information that she gathers, for her.
And we're hoping that this information that we gather, that we can share with other communities and other researchers and say, hey, this is what we found. It could be a collaborative thing, or put a paper together and say, hey, this is what we found. This is what worked and what didn't work. And again, but like Edie says, you have to address each community different. It's like when I get a new group of students every semester, I have to adjust my teaching to that new group of students because each one have different learning disabilities and stuff. And so I have to do that. And it's the same here, but at least it'd be a guide that we can probably share with other communities and other researchers and organizations, say, this is what we found and this worked for us and what didn't work. So we look for it to be something that we can share as well to other organizations and other researchers.
And like I said, don't be put off if you're looked at in a skeptical way. Because, folks be coming in and it's like, oh, they trying to save us, like that, oh, they here we go again, kind of thing. And
like I say, if you walk in with humility and everything and just talk to them as an individual, cool people, very talented people, very knowledgeable people, it's just they're in a different circumstance and you just got to try to get them out of it. And I tell my students all the time, don't allow your circumstance guide your future. So that's one of the things I constantly keep telling my students, don't let this stop you from moving forward. So It's the same when you guys come in, just, hey, what's up, and find people in the community that's already in the community so they can introduce you. So if you have a relationship with them, then it's like, oh, okay, so you know him, it's you feel comfortable again that they know somebody that's already working with you and they are in the community. So that makes it more comfortable and appetizing for them to want to be part of what you're working on.
And also too, don't forget the parents. A lot of times people just deal with the kids and they don't deal with the parents, because parents got some issues going on too. It's generational. We're trying to break generational curses and stuff. And there may be some who are, skeptical as well, but, regard them, keep the parents in mind and keep them informed. When I was working with some kids who had special needs, it was this one young man who I thought the teachers weren't really urging him to do his best. And I just writing his name, he didn't know how to write his name. He was severely autistic and he didn't know how to write his name, but I would continue to work with him writing his name, and I would not let it go. I mean, I was gentle with him, but I was persistent because I knew that he could do it. I knew that he could do it. And what I did was I would write a report for his parents every week to let them know his progress. They didn't do that. That's because I had a special interest in him and what he was trying to do or what he needed to do. And he learned how to write his name. And I sometimes we think, oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. Yes, they can. With persistence, but with love and being gentle and being patient. Yeah, they can. So don't assume that they can't. They can't.
I know you guys are so jealous of my community partners right now because of the amazingness and words of wisdom. Go ahead. Sorry, Edie, what were you saying?
No, I was giggling.
Oh.
So I answered somebody's question that had about us working researchers before. This is our first time working with a researcher. But we have heard of all the stories of what researchers have done and come into the communities and done and not done. So
I've been researched. I've been researched before. So
okay. So that's just being honest. This is our first time, and hopefully, like I said, we get some good traction with this and information that we can pass on. So when somebody asks us these questions, we have answers and say, well, we got some data to back that up. And so, yeah.
And unfortunately, I think we're going to have to wrap up. But thank you guys so much. I so appreciate you. And I personally feel like I know I learn from you guys every time. And even just the presentation, I'm like, oh, so thank you guys, and reach out with questions, but we'll transition to the small groups, and be sure to continue the questions of readings, continue questions of if you have any follow-ups of community partnerships, and we're always welcome to chat. And again, thank you so much, Daryl, Edie. You guys are such a joy, and I feel like people have learned so much, so we really appreciate you.
Okay,
thank you. And again, if anybody wants to see our PowerPoint or know about some of the work they're doing, just please, I can send it to Ashley and she can pass it on to whoever.
Love that.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, Edie,
Thank you so much.
guys.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, I think we'll just need a moment or two to do the assignments to the breakouts.